Welcome everyone to talk from me on team collaboration in the MSc in Information Technology degree. Okay, I guess we've waited long enough now. We'll get started. So our Master in Science and Information Technology degree is ultimately a degree about software development and how to build web applications, which is also then transferable to many other types of applications, for whether they be for phone or desktop or server-side things. And I talk about this because that's what most of our students end up doing after graduation, at least the ones that we know about. We know that some go on to do other things, whether that be in academia because they're here on secondment from their normal work, or they're looking for a career change. Some decide to go on to do PhDs, and others go on to other types of things. But by and large, the ones that we know most about, they go on and do software development things. And this is why team collaboration is important, because software development is ultimately a team sport. Yes, there are independent developers who make a living by being a freelance developer, but even those always collaborate with other people, whether they be one-off things or more of an ongoing collaboration. Everyone I've spoken to that does that sort of thing, they're always collaborating with other people, whether that be for the graphics, the storyboarding, other issues, all sorts of stuff. They don't work alone, so they need to know how to work as a team, even if it is ad hoc. And the other thing is almost, yeah, all the big software things you use yourself daily, or your parents do, whatever, all of them are either done as a small team or teams of teams. If you think of the really big things that we all use, Facebook, Spotify, travel applications, all of those are done by teams of people. Yes, it's showing the wrong one, isn't it? Ah, hold on. How's that?
Perfect.
There we go. So that raises the other question. What happens when I click a link? Does it share the browser? We'll find out in a minute. Okay, that works. Cool. Okay, thanks. All right. So as you can see, even us in academia, we're still human. We make mistakes. Where was I? Yes, teams build software. So because of this, all employers, when they're looking for hires in software development and other things, they're always looking for people who are effective in experienced in team collaboration. I just randomly pulled a few links. Nope. No, I still have read about it. So if we skim through this one, as you see, these are just graduate posts, the sort of thing you would hire. Where'd it go? So Scrum, XP, Canvas. We cover XP and Scrum, which is coming up on a later slide. Where'd it go? In-house, don't have to be car enthusiast. This is a company that does car websites and other stuff. Customer-centric application, passion for code, collaborative and customer-first culture. So this goes to that. If we switch back to the slide, go to the other one. Work on collaborative projects with your colleagues, clients, and partners. So everything with software is always about collaboration. Okay, so this one has expired. This was with NatWest Banking. Redefine banking experience for customers, and somewhere else on here when I looked. And Yeah, again, it can all devote to the life cycle of development. Nope, I'm not seeing the other part I saw before. Anyways, you get the idea. So being able to work as part of a team and develop ideas as part of a team is crucial to your future. And part of that is the stuff in red, and the red and the green. The things where you're doing the work are the things you immediately think of. But if you think of the other parts, why do we need to collaborate in the first place? What do you get out of it? What do the other people get out of it? You can do more as a team than you can on your own, which leads to the other question of who should be on the team. And we'll come to that part later. And then how do you stay in touch with your team members? This is especially important now during the pandemic, is how do we stay in touch? How do we do things? If we're used to doing them in person, how do we do them remotely? And then how do we do the work together? How do we share the different jobs? How do we collaborate on the parts? How do we share our work as we move forward? How do we stay in touch? Do we use email? Do we use mobile devices? Do we use Teams as we're using now, or do we do other things? And then how do we talk to each other? What's our assumptions about who our team members are, the people that we're collaborating with? And how do we talk to people even if we don't normally get along with them? How do we still do what we need to do in order to do the work that we've been asked to do? And then we finally get on to the parts about the doing the work. What are the risks involved? How do we reduce those as quickly as we can? How much work is there to do, and how do we break that up into smaller chunks? And then what's the right order to do those things? And then now that we've done the work, how do we pull the work of the different team members together and start to deploy that to, whether that be for creating a presentation, creating a bit of software, how do we move it from our laptops to a shared deployed space that everyone can see, and if we're building things for clients, that our clients can see. And then how do we review what we've done so that the next time we go through this loop, because it is ultimately a loop that we go through again and again, how do we review our work and check that our process is working well, or are there changes that we want to make of how we do our work together? And I guess that's another key part, is that this is an incremental and an iterative approach. Team collaboration isn't just a one-off thing. If you're doing things maybe it is for a small chunk of things, you need to craft an email with someone else, or a letter or something. Maybe that is just a one-off thing, quickly come together, agree to do the work. But for software development, you're usually working in slices of the application, whether that be over a 2-week period, a 3-week period, or whatever. And then you have a cadence, you have a rhythm to how often you meet together, how often you pull the work together. And at the end of that time box, for want of a better word, that little cycle, you'd review your work, see what's going on, talk to your client, show them where you're at, get some feedback, and then go back through the loop again. You may not always go through the why you're collaborating and who's on the team, but you still need to confirm that the things in yellow are still working as expected, the things in red are working together as part of your review process. And the beauty of all of these things, they are all professional skills. They transfer to anything else you're doing. For any and all of the classes that you do with us for part of the degree, but also they transfer to anything you're doing outside of the degree for your wider professional work and in your personal life. We all have friends and family that we need to talk to and stay in touch with, and if we realize that it's not working as well as we like, then we can review that process and go, oh, okay, I'll have to put something in my diary to remember to call Dad, or whatever. So all of the stuff that we teach you about team development is something that will stay with you forever. Easily transferable to whatever you do across a range of different things. As I said, we provide opportunities for you so you have experience doing these things before you graduate. That way you have stuff you can talk about when you're in job interviews, things you can put on your CV, your LinkedIn profile, whatever the case might be that you're using to find work after you graduate. And as it says here, we focus on agile approaches and practices, in particular Scrum and XP, because those are the ones most used by all employers. We also provide opportunities for you to be an experienced software developer as a team member across a range of different courses. And in particular, as you can see here, about a little more than half of our courses have a team component. I see that. Oh, it's the graphic coming off the P. Right. The ones circled in red, apologies for the thing that's slightly out of focus, but still legible enough. So in the first term, you have 2 courses, database systems and human computer interaction, where there is a small team component. You're not doing a lot, but you're starting to need to collaborate stuff together. And in the second term, fundamentals of software project management and enterprise software development are 2 different team collaboration efforts. There is still individual components in all of these, but the goal of both of this 2 in the second term is to create a larger application. And particularly the fundamentals of software project management is, you can consider that as a dry run for this project that you do in the 3rd semester. That one will take you through gathering requirements all the way through to deploying something and getting it done. And in the 3rd semester, you're working as a team with a real client. So you're doing everything as a team. In between 2nd and 3rd semester, there's a small series of workshops and things that we also do that help you pull all of these things together as far as team collaboration goes. If you're starting in January, in particular, if you're starting in this coming January, the same courses, the only difference there then is that between the 2nd semester ends up being in September, so you have another gap, a 3-month gap between your 1st semester and your 2nd semester. Yeah, that's because you, yeah. So your degree takes 15 months, but you still have the same order of courses. And in the summer, where you don't have any courses, you will have an opportunity to do other things. We're still working on what those will be, but there will be opportunities for you to do other things. Okay. As I said, the group project, the IT project, the master's dissertation part of the whole degree is you as a team, 4 to 6 students working with a client, being guided by a mentor such as myself or other members of staff on the degree, guiding you through everything so that you do the work you need to do to build an application for the client. And this consistently is the part that's always rated the best part, the funnest part, the scariest part in some ways, by students whenever we've done a post-degree Q&A about what did you think, what worked, what didn't work, how can we make it better. They always said, keep this is consistently really good, because it pulls everything together that you're taught in the courses. You get to apply it to this real project that you're building with a real client, and you can see the different ways of working and how you as a team develop, grow, get the work done. And at the end of that, it's those things which you put in the CV which help you to gain interviews and then discuss those stories of oh yeah, when we worked with our client to do X and Y, we learned that, whatever the case may be. But you've got these stories that you can use in interviews to help you gain a job, right? So I guess that's most everything. So I would encourage you to come improve your team collaboration with us. We're here to help you. You can find out more about me on the links there. Feel free to email me. There's a link to the prospectus page. And because lots of students always ask about it, is there funding for this for me in my circumstances? If you go to the funding page, you will find there's a database that the university maintains where you can search for different types of funding and hopefully find something applicable to your situation. I guess that's it for me now. We go over to you folks for questions.
There's one question in chat here, Bruce. It says, it just asks which programs the university offers that include elements of software development.
There are two. There's the MSc IT degree, which assumes you have not done a computing degree before. Maybe you did anthropology, chemistry, did a business degree, what have you. We then train you, guide you to be a software developer type person. But you could just easily go into any computing role after that. We also have an advanced master's degree for those students who've already done a computing degree, and that focuses on artificial intelligence, in particular natural language generation and things of that sort. The other degree, there's a data science degree. It has some programming in it, but not to the same extent that this degree does. That focuses more on the data science aspects of computing and the interpretation of the data. And uses a much more specialized programming language that is less transferable across the board. Whereas what we provide for you in this degree is a language that will, we provide you a language that you can use during the degree, and we teach you enough so that you can also easily move to any other software programming language that you might need to use in future jobs. Our employers that we regularly speak to have always consistently said we don't really care which degree your students, which language you use for teaching the degree, as long as you teach students enough so that they can understand the concepts of the languages and programming, and they can then guide them in learning new languages as required. So we teach you enough to move from one language to another, as students have regularly done during the summer project or the group project, because the client might have a language already in mind.
Another here that just asking for more information about bioinformatics.
Oh, we don't cover that in this degree. Yeah, we have some of that in our undergraduate degree, and I believe there is something up at the medical school that does bioinformatics, but I don't know if it's done at the postgraduate level.
And there's another asking how much previous IT experience is needed for this degree.
For this degree, nothing. We've had students come with no experience. We've had other students who've done who have done a computing degree and have joined this and still learned lots. Ideally, if you know you want to do this degree, then after you've signed up, you've been accepted, go do any of the online courses. just to start to learn some of the basics of programming, whether that be with Python, Ruby, JavaScript, whatever tickles your fancy, just so you have some idea of what you're getting yourself into, and so you can start with your feet knowing which direction to walk. But if that's not possible, turn up and we will guide you and get you through it. And you'll come out better at the other end, happier. Yeah. What else do people need to know today?
That the things we get asked is some of the extracurricular type stuff, some of the hackathons and the kind of extra sort of experiential stuff that happens as part of the degree. Talk about that.
Yeah, so stuff. There's stuff going on in Aberdeen, virtually, as well as some things in person, although at the moment there are fewer things in person. There's a local tech hub. It regularly organizes events for Aberdeen and across Scotland. That's one option that has a variety of different types of talks, both about programming, entrepreneurship, and other tech-related topics. Across Scotland, there is a data science meetup that meets monthly. They have been hosting online discussions and talks and things, and get-togethers for people. I'm part of a group that organizes irregular co-design and hack events, usually 3 or 4 a year. They range across all sorts of different topics, but they provide an opportunity for you to come and develop ideas along a specific theme. Now that we're in a virtual situation, there are also international events that you can just as easily participate in as well, and though those are almost, if you want to do something every weekend, you probably could. There are so those are the ones that align with the program. In addition, there are many student societies and other things covering any other range of topics and interests from society and sport if you wanted to do those as well. And if you're in Aberdeen, then you also have the opportunity of walking the city, going to the beach, and going further afield, as buses and trains permit. Yep.
In terms of the project stage, the kind of dissertation stage of the degree, at least my understanding is a lot of students will do something, in partnership with industry or something kind of industry related. You've got a few examples of the kind of projects people have worked on that have been kind of cool over the years, that kind of thing.
Yep. So this last summer, we had students working with NHS Grampian on a recovery program for I want to say arthritis, but it's called Walking with Ease, which is an international program. And the doctors in charge of that for us wanted to move it from a booklet format to an online format so people could easily log in and fill in the details. That went well. The local branch of a national company had 2 teams. One of them was dealing with ship-to-ship transfers, so they could get things off of paper. Yes, there's still companies doing that, and move it to a digital platform. That went so well, the company has now hired those students to work for 3 months together to move it along to the next stage and get it deployed within the company. The other team that they worked with helped them prove a concept, which worked well, but I've decided not to take that one forward at this time. Previous ones that we had were with, again, local companies building what do you call? a news intelligence system, so that if it would look across stuff, a range of different websites and things, and pull back relevant information as it had been told. So if you're interested in particular things with the oil industry, it would keep track of different projects that had been started and announced in the press and stuff, and let you know. That was done for a few years, and the company eventually hired one student who'd worked on the original version part-time. That didn't happen this year, unfortunately, but we hope to go back to them again for other ones. And in the past, I suppose the most successful one was a prototype idea we did for a charity in the Borders that focused on riders with disabilities. And they had a profiling tool that they wanted to extend. That was so successful, they got further funding, and then they launched it as a parallel business to their main business, and that still runs as a separate website and subscription service. So it helped launch a company, more or less. But yeah, it's always a range of different things, and we can never quite know what's going to come of them, but they're always interesting. The students always come away having learned lots about themselves and about that particular topic and as well. We've been doing that for 10, 11 years, and it's always proven its weight in gold.
There's another question just come in a second ago, Bruce, just saying, just asking about how we do classes sort of during the pandemic, in terms of our blended learning approach, and whether there's any kind of estimate of when we might do some face-to-face learning as well.
Yeah, okay, so at the moment, every course on offer has the option for an in-person component of about an hour a week. So each of the courses will always have something that is in person. It might not be a lot, but there is an opportunity for a small group. If more people opted for that aspect, we would still have something. We'd have more of those, but at the moment it seems to be a small handful of students meeting in person, depending upon the size of the room that's available and the that particular course. At the moment, it is about 40% of the students of the postgraduates are on campus. No, sorry. 60% of the postgraduate students are on campus, and it seems about a quarter of those are each course is meeting in person once a week. So we plan to continue that as we keep going forward until the situation changes. As it looks now, I would expect that, yes, we've already agreed that the next half session that starts in January will be conducted in the same blended learning approach. If the situation is the same then for the summer, then we will do the group project in the summer in the same manner. As far as I know, there was, for the 8 teams we had this last summer, none of those teams met in person. They all opted to do everything remotely at that point as well, because we were mostly in lockdown. Some students were working remotely from their homes. They'd gone home. So students were working across different time zones. One team met in person only very briefly for a small meeting with their client so they could complete their video, the video component of their project. And even that was done in a socially distant manner. So we have plans to do things, and because this is an IT subject, we benefit from all of the experience that companies have put into place in the past years to enable us to work remotely. what do you call? There's always been an element in the software industry of teams having to collaborate across vast distances, across time zones and stuff. And so we are able to take advantage of all of their lessons and apply them to how we help you to do the degree. There are tools for sharing what you're working on, tools for doing meetings, for all of this stuff. All of the stuff that you need to do for the degree can be done remotely. There are, if and where it's possible to meet in person, that's great. If whatever happens that isn't feasible, we still provide you with the tools to have a successful degree.
In terms of during blended learning, for those students that are able to get on campus, logistically, if they need to use things like the library or computer labs, that's all. The library's open. The computer labs, I don't know if anyone's using the computer labs, actually. I know it's been discussed. And for my course, where students are doing stuff, they all have their laptops. We just meet in a normal room. Okay.
Yeah, I'm assuming that some of the labs are available, but I don't really know for sure. There must be, actually, because one of the rooms I was offered for a session was a computing lab, but there were no students picked that session, so yeah, there must be computing labs available.
Okay. Well, that does appear to be it for questions. I'm going to put Bruce's details up on screen, so if you do think of anything else that you'd like to ask, you can certainly feel free to get in touch with him via the Twitter and his email address that's on screen. But thanks everyone for attending, and yeah, we hope to see you on campus or online studying with us very soon.